Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to part 3 of chapter 5. In this part, we are going to talk about components of the security program. So the information security need of any company is unique to the culture, size, and the budget of organization, as we have discussed before. Determining what level of the information security program operates on depends on the organization's strategic plan, and in particular the vision and mission statement of the company. The CIO, Chief Information Officer, and Chief Information Security Officer, they should use these two documents to be able to formulate a mission statement for the information security program in the organization. There are a lot of documents from NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology, which provide guidance for developing an information security program. One of them is called SP 800-14, which is generally accepted principles and practices for securing the information systems. Another informative NIST publication is also SP 800-12, which talks about an introduction to computer security, the NIST handbook. This also provides a broader view of many of the core topics of information security to be able to help the readers understand their computer security needs and develop an approach to the selected appropriate security control. So the NIST handbook covers a lot of topics such as elements of computer security, roles and responsibility, common threats, common information security control, risk management, security program management, and contingency plan. In here you can see some of the elements that is presented in SP 800-12 and SP 800-14. So the primary elements such as policy, program management, risk management, and all that. Also, there is a more recent publication called SP 800-100, which is called Information Security Handbook, and that is basically a focus on a guide for managers. So it is actually helping the managers to understand how to establish and implement an information security program. So that's another useful handbook that can help the managers, and that's SP 800-100. Now let's look at information security roles and titles. So there was a study by Schwartz, Irvin, Wiefer, and Brini that found that can be classified into one of the three types: those that define, those that build, and those that administer. So definers, they provide the policy, guidelines, and the standards. Those are the people who do the consulting and risk management and develop the product and technical architecture. They are normally senior people with a lot of broader knowledge, but not often a lot of depth. Then we talk about builders. They are the real techies who create and install security solutions. And then at the end, you have the people who operate and administrate the security tools, the security monitoring function, and also the people who continuously improve the process. So sometimes we often say that we use the same people for all the roles. We use the builders all the times. And if you break your information security professional into three groups, you can recruit them more efficiently, with the policy people being the more senior people, the builders more technical, and then the operating people being those that you can train to do those specific tasks. So in this way, it will be easier for us to be able to hire for our information security program in the organization. So now let's look at the information security title. Normally, a typical organization has a number of individuals with information security responsibility. So the title may be different. Most of the job function fit in one of these following roles. Chief Information Security Officer, or sometimes we might call it Chief Security Officer. Also, we have a title called Security Manager, also Security Administrator and Analyst, Security Technicians, Security Staffers and Watchsnatters, Security Consultants, Security Officers and Investigators, and as well as Help Desk. So this is actually the chart, the org chart. In this chart, we can see that the Chief Information Security Officer is the most senior information security role. Then you have the consultant, which actually consults with the Information Security Officer, and then you have the Information Security Manager and Physical Security Manager. And then you have under the Information Security Manager people who are the administrators, and then the technician engineers. And then under the Physical Security, you have the Physical Security Officer. So let's see who is the Chief Information Security Officer. Or sometimes we call them CSO, is primarily responsible for the assessment, management, and implementation of the program that secure the organization information. This is a senior executive management position, and is responsible for security, and sometimes it may be called Director of Security or Senior Security Manager or something like that. The CISO normally reports directly to the CIO, but in some larger organization, one or more additional layer of management may separate the two officers. So you might have more layers in your org chart. So most organizations, they use the title Chief Security Officer to describe the Chief Information Officers. In most larger organizations, they will use the CSO title to identify a role that's responsible for the convergence of physical and as well as IT risk into one program that controls all the risk. In some other organizations, however, they will simply call the senior executive for physical security the CSO and define a role for CSO that is integrated into the holistic risk management. Then we have the security managers, that they are accountable for the day-to-day operation of information security. They also accomplish objectives that are identified by CISO or CSO, who that they report to. They can resolve issues that are identified by technicians, administrator, analyst, or other staff who they supervise. So managing the security basically requires you to understand the technology, but not necessarily to be master in technology like configuration, operation, and so on. Some team leaders or managers within the information security community may be responsible for management, such as scheduling, setting priorities, or administrating a lot of tasks. Let's look at the terms such as security administrator or security analyst. Security administrator is a hybrid position. That means it compromises the responsibility of both security technician and a security managers with both technical knowledge as well as managerial skill. Security analyst, on the other hand, is specialized in a security administrator for performing the system development lifecycle activities in the development of the system, of the security system. So some of the duties must be able to analyze and design the security solution with a specific domain. Security analysts, they should also be able to identify users' needs. They have to understand the technological complexities and also capabilities of the security system that they can design. Another role is security technicians, which they are technically qualified individuals who can configure the firewalls, the IDPs, they can implement security software, basically diagnose and troubleshoot the problems, and coordinate with system and network administrator to make sure that the security technology is properly implemented. So the security technician is normally an entry-level position, but you need to have a strong technical knowledge, which you will learn it through experience. So if you don't have a job experience, then it's true it's entry level, but then you gain it through the experience. Security technicians who want to move into the corporate hierarchy, they must expand their technical knowledge horizontally and gaining understanding of general organizational issues, and as well as they need to gain more managerial skills as well if they want to move up into the hierarchy. So now let's look at who are security staffers and watch standards. Security staffer is basically a title that applies to those people who perform routine, watch standing, or administrative activities. So what does the term watch stander means? It includes those people who watch intrusion consoles, monitor email accounts, and perform other routine, but they are also critical roles that support the mission of Information Security Department. Security watch standards are often also the entry-level information security professionals which are responsible for monitoring the aspect of organization security posture, whether it's technical or managerial. In this position, these new people have the opportunity to learn more about the organization information security program before becoming critical component of its administration. And that they can also learn more about the organization and move up into the hierarchy as well. Then we have the security consultant, which is typically an independent expert in some aspect of information security. So information security consultant, they are normally independent expert in some aspect of information security. They normally brought in when the organization make decision to outsource one or more aspect of its information security program. Normally, it's preferable to involve a formal security service company. Qualified individual consultants are also available to hire, and they are normally cost the company a lot of money as well. Security officers and investigators are another role in the information security. They are occasionally the physical security and information security programs are blended into one functional unit. So when that occurs, there are a lot of roles that to be added to the pure IT security program, including physical security officers and investigators. Sometimes they can refer to as guards, gates, and guns aspect of security. These roles are often also related to law enforcement, and they may rely on employing those personnel who are actually trained in law enforcement or criminal justice rather than the IT security. The other roles is help desk personnel, which they are important part of information security team, which they help the security team to be able to identify potential problems. Sometimes when a user calls the help desk with a complaint about whatever it is, it could be his computer, the network, or internet connection, the user's problem may turn out to be a bigger problem, such as hacking or denial of service attack or a virus. Help desk technician, they perform a specialized role in information security. They have a need for also some sort of a specialized training in terms of information security, not only the IT systems. So that's it about the roles of people in the information security department. The next thing that we are going to talk about is how to implement a security education training and awareness program, which is also part of the information security program. Now let's talk about implementing security education training and awareness program. So, the short form of it is called SETA. SETA is a managerial program that is designed to improve the security of information asset by providing knowledge, skills, guidance for the organization employees. So SETA program offers three major benefits. One, they can improve employee behavior. They can inform members of the organization about where to report violation of policy, and they can help the organization to hold employees accountable for their action. The purpose of SETA is basically to enhance the security. So by building in-depth knowledge as needed to design and implement or operate a security program for an organization and systems. Also, another purpose is to develop skills and knowledge so that the computer users can perform their job while using the IT systems more securely. Another purpose of SETA is to improve awareness of the need to protect the system resources. So now let's look at the framework of SETA. So in this chart, you can actually see the basically different features in the SETA. Consists of three elements: security education, training, and awareness. So with these, let's look at the education. Some organizations may have employees within the information security department who are not prepared by their background or experience for the information security. So when the technical circumstances allow or a strategic imperative dictates, these employees may be encouraged to use formal education methods. There could be local and regional resources. They might also provide information and services in educational area, maybe in terms of seminars, background readings, workshops and stuff. Security training involves providing members of the organization with detailed information and hands-on instruction to enable them to perform their duties. Management can either develop customized training or outsource some part of the training program. There are two methods of customizing training for the users in terms of different skill level or functional background. So in terms of functional background, maybe they can have a training for general user, managerial user, as well as technical user. And also in terms of a skill level, maybe somebody who is beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Now let's look at the training techniques that are out there. Good training techniques is important to successful training as through knowledge of the subject area. So Charles Streppel, in his article Training Developers More Efficiently, he emphasized on using the wrong method can hinder training and lead to unnecessary expenses and frustrated, poor trained employees. Good training programs, they can take advantage of the latest learning technologies and best practices. Recent development include less use of centralized public courses and more on-site training. Training is often for one or few individuals rather than waiting for a large group, which can cause the company lost productivity. Other best practices can include increased use of short task-oriented module and training session available during normal work week that are immediate and consistent. And in terms of a delivery method, how the training can be delivered to the individuals, it could be one-to-one, formal class, computer-based training, distance learning, user group, on-the-job training, and self-study. So basically these so in order for the organization to choose any of them, it depends to their budget, scheduling, and the need of organization. So based on that, they can pick whatever delivery method they think is best for their employees. So how should a company select a training staff? In order to provide the employee training, company can use a local training program, maybe a continuing education department can provide that, or another external agency. Also, it can hire a professional trainer or consultant or someone from accredited institution to conduct the on-site training as well. It can also organize and conduct training in-house using its own employee to be able to help the people in the organization learn about the security in the company. How do the company implement the training? Each organization develops its own strategy based on the techniques that we just talked about. But this 7-step methodology normally applies. First, identify program scope, goals, and objectives. Second, identify training staff. Third, identify training targets. Fourth, motivate the management and employee. Fifth step, administer the program. Sixth step, maintain it. And then the last step is to evaluate the program to see if it was useful, and also how they can improve the security training. Now let's talk about security awareness. Security awareness is very effective security methods in terms of implementing a security awareness program in a company, but it's least frequently implemented. Security awareness program is basically set the stage for training by changing the organization attitude to realize the importance of security and the consequences of the failures. The security awareness program reminds users of the procedures that they can be followed and keeps information security at front of users' mind in a daily basis. So when developing awareness programs, we need to follow some of these. First, focus on people, both as part of the problem and also as part of the solution. Second, refrain from using technical jargon. Speak the language that the user they can understand. Third, use every available venue to access all the users. Fourth, define at least one key learning objective, state it clearly, and provide sufficient and coverage to reinforce the learning of it. Also, keep things light. Refrain from kind of preaching to the users. Don't overload the users with too much detail. Help users understand their roles in information security and how breach in the security can affect their job. Also, take advantage of in-house communication media or deliver messages. Also, make the awareness program formal, plan and document all the action, and provide good information early rather than perfect information later. Now let's look at some of the advice for information security awareness training programs. Let's look at some of the advice for information security awareness program. These are just very long, so I'm just going to go through basic of them. Information security is about people and only incidentally related to technology. If they don't understand what they are being told, they will not be able to learn. So these are some of the things that you want to consider. First, tell the students what you plan to tell them, then tell it to them, then remind them what you told them. So basically summarize it maybe at the end for them. Formalize your training methodology until it is a repeatable process. And always be timely, even if it means slipping schedules to include urgent information. So these are some kind of advice when you are implementing an awareness program to follow that. Security awareness and training are designed to modify any employee behavior that endanger the security of the organization information. Security training and awareness activity, they can be undermined, however, if management doesn't set a good example. So it is very important for the management to support the training and awareness of the information security in the organization. And also they should be able to set a policy by the upper management as well. Now let's look at employee accountability in terms of training and awareness. Effective training and awareness program makes employee accountable for their action. Dissemination and enforcement of the policy become easier when those training and awareness programs are in place. So basically, it can actually help the organization against lawsuit as well. So kind of the employee, they are kind of aware of the situation and they know how to handle it. Now let's look at the awareness technique. The NIST publication SB 800-12 which we just talked about it before, Introduction to Computer Security, basically says that awareness can take on different forms for a particular audience. A security awareness can use many methods to deliver its message. Effective security awareness programs need to be designed with the recognition that people tend to practice a tuning out process, and for this reason, awareness techniques should be creative and they should be changed frequently. That means that if you develop a training program and never update it, it can go out of date. So you need to update your awareness program, and also you need to be creative in creating them. Now let's look at developing security awareness components. So many security awareness components, they are available at low cost or sometimes no cost, except for the time and energy. But sometimes it can be expensive if they are purchased externally. Some of the components of security awareness could include videos, posters, presentation, conferences, computer-based training, newsletters, brochure and flyer, maybe trinkers, coffee cups, pens, pencil t-shirts, and bulletin boards. So now let's look at some of them. One of the components of the security, developing security awareness could be, you can develop it in terms of a security newsletter, which is the most cost-effective method of disseminating the information about the security to the employees. Newsletter can be in form of hard copy, email, or intranet. Topics, they can include threats to the organization, information assets, schedule for upcoming security classes, and in addition to introducing any new security personnel. The goal of this is to keep information security in terms of the user's mind and to simulate them to care about security. So newsletters, they can include summaries of key policies, summaries of key news articles, a calendar of security events, including training sessions, announcements that are related to the information security, basically how to do things in terms of the security, kind of a reference guide. They can all be included in the security newsletter. So this is an example of a security newsletter for a company that you can see. So they could be based on different volumes, and they could actually talk about different topics in terms of information security as well. And as you can see here, they also put some of the contact information in terms of, any type of security problem, even physical security that the employees might have. So you can basically distribute them in terms of a PDF documents or HTML documents. You can put them on the intranet, or basically maybe create a website and put it up there. So there are the different ways of disseminating this in the organization. Security poster series, it can also be displayed in common areas, especially where technology is being used. Also is a simple and inexpensive way to keep security on people's mind. So professional posters, it can be quite expensive, so in-house development may be the best solution for the companies as well. Some of the keys to a good poster series are varying the content and keep posters updated, keep them simple but visually interesting, making the message clear, provide information on reporting violation. So the posters, basically, they can be looking like this. So they don't have to contain a lot of information, but they need to have some sort of a picture that describes that and make people interested in your posters. So it can be a series of posters that you can create. So this is actually a poster that was from the Kinswa State University, and this is about the information security awareness program, as you can see. And they can again put those in somewhere that people can see them, and also using the technology. Now let's look at the Trinket program. Trinket program may not cost much on a per unit basis, but they can be expensive to distribute it in a whole organization. Some of the things that maybe you can use is pen and pencils, mouse pads, coffee mugs, plastics, hat, and t-shirt. The messages trinket program in part will be lost unless reinforced by other means. So it's better to have this with maybe the poster or maybe with the newsletter. So by itself, maybe it's not going to be effective as it should be. So this is basically like that. You can, create a shirt maybe for, employees and give it to them. Or maybe create a mug and give it to them. But it normally is not going to be effective by itself. Now let's look at information security awareness through a website. So basically, a company can establish web pages or site that is dedicated to promoting the information security awareness. So basically, again, the challenge is to keep them updated and to keep them fresh. Some tips on creating and maintaining an educational website is see what's already out there. Plan ahead, keep your page loading time to the minimum. Remember, if you cannot catch people's attention in the first second, they might go to another website. Seek feedback, assume nothing, and check everything. Spend time promoting your website. That's also another important part. You might have a beautiful website and all this up-to-date information, but maybe it's not, you're not promoting it to the people in the organization, so nobody knows about it. Now, let's look at security awareness through conference and presentation. Another way of renewing the information is to have a guest speaker or maybe have mini conferences dedicated to the topic. Perhaps an association with the formal Computer Security Days. November 30th is International Computer Security Days, for those of you who didn't know. And National Computer Security Days is through October 31st and also April 4th. So these are some days that maybe you might want to consider and basically have a security awareness conference, mini conferences on those days. The next part of this chapter, we are going to talk about project management in information security. So that's it for this part. See you in the next part that we are going to talk about project management in information security. Bye-bye.